Hey, I'm Harry Mays, and could our old pal Carson Wentz possibly send the Eagles to 3 straight losses?
Ooh, I'm Jason Martinez. Can Jalen stop hurting me? You always hate my take, Harry.
I didn't say a word.
Yeah, I saw your face. I've seen it enough.
We got 59 more minutes. I'm Marc Farzetta, and if you have an offensive line problem, you got an everything problem. All that and more in this edition of Locked On Eagles Squad Show.
Fly, Eagles, fly. It's the Eagles Squad. Everything Philadelphia Eagles every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from the city of brotherly love. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. It's the Eagles Squad Show starting now.
And welcome into Locked On Eagles Squad Show. This particular episode is brought to you by Crossover Thursdays, presented by PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Gentlemen, just before we jump into anything else, I just got to get you guys' reaction here to that epic meeting that was supposedly had between Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, and Jalen Hurts, and then we find out that meeting, for the people on the podcast, I use the air quotes there, meeting happened in a parking lot that A.J. Brown just happened to walk past at the right or wrong time, depending on how you like to slice it.
Yeah, at work, at NovaCare. Shocking.
What I heard,
he just walked by Nnamdi Asomugha's car as he's eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with the crust cut off.
Exactly. Once I heard it was in the parking lot, I was like, that's not a meeting.
No.
That's not it. There's no like film session. There were no like stats gone over. Like, I'm all for players having conversations, but to make it sound like a official meeting happened where it's like, all right, hey guys, we're going to sit down, we're going to hash this out, and we're going to figure it out. That's
not leaving the room until we're all on the same page.
It's not at all what happened. It's not at all what happened.
That was like a Nahagian meeting.
I don't know. I've had some of my best meetings in parking lots, actually.
Go on.
No,
not go on.
I'm not going any farther. Just take it for what it is.
That might be the most entertaining part of the. Anyway, for me, when I heard that, and when it was, I know, right? Eagle Squad After Dark. When I heard Ian Rappaport say, this said at a meeting in the parking lot, I was like, oh, they're going to get their asses beat. And it was right after the pregame stuff and all that. And I went, oh, they didn't correct anything. This is going to be like what I was hoping for, like all the positives of having a game that quick after your first loss of the season. I thought, okay, hey, you get right back to it. You have the opportunity to get right back out there. We talked about it on the squad show last week. All that went out the window once I heard, Jason, that it was a parking lot meeting.
Yeah, and the assumption you're going to beat the brakes off of the Giants, you're going to respond. You're a team that has got a lot of pride, and they went out and they laid an egg. I mean, they got the brakes beaten off of them. I mean, it was embarrassing, frankly. And there's real issues. That's an indication of real world team issues and locker room issues, and they have a lot that needs to be cleaned up. It's not just something where you go, well, they'll figure it out and straighten it out and move forward. And they started 2-2 last year and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't take away from the 4 wins they have this year over some good teams. But the fact of the matter is right now in their current state, there's a lot of big time question marks and things that need to be resolved to move forward and get back on a path that they were on at the beginning of this year and that they obviously rode last year all the way to a Super Bowl win.
Yeah, I just don't understand all of this. This is just so ridiculous to me that you could have 3 of these, star players that we're talking about needing to meet, period, after you start out 4-0, coming off a Super Bowl win and a parade and all of that. I mean, everything should be good. I don't get how you get here. I really can't figure.
What do you get, Harry?
What do you mean?
He hasn't been targeted until late in the third quarter on 2 occasions. A 1,500-yard receiver.
No, I think I get what you're saying, Harry. You're saying these guys have been together. The only new piece here is Kevin Batullo. Why are we?
And he wasn't in the meeting.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, and not to mention also the past 2 weeks they've been taken apart late in the game by a second-year quarterback and destroyed by 2 rookies with the Giants. Okay, playing some of their first games in the NFL. Like, this is an all-around problem. You know, I know, you know, we focus on the offensive coordinator and, you know, A.J. Brown's temperamental nature or whatever, but this is an all 53 problem in my view.
Organizational problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something.
And where's the head coach in all of this?
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of sort of taking a back seat in like, take charge. Like, why should they be coming to you saying we need to put the pads on today, coach? Why should that be coming from them? Yeah. I don't get that either.
One of the things I credit Nick Sirianni with is he, over his time here in Philadelphia, has found a way to have his team pull focus. He's found a way to motivate his team, all that stuff. I have not seen that this year.
No.
And what was so haunting to me is Jordan Mailata. Now, Jordan Mailata is always overly honest. If I'm the PR department, I have several people standing around his media session in the locker room because I'm terrified of what he's going to say.
Right.
Last year, after the Carolina Panthers game, he literally said after that game, yeah, we didn't know what our assignments were. We didn't know what we were doing out there. And this is like, whoa. This is a Jeff Stoutland coached offensive line. And you mean to tell me that you guys didn't know what you were doing?
Yeah.
Really? And then this week, he says, yeah, Lane's wrong. We're not predictable. We're just not executing. And then the most haunting, and this is where I put it on coaches, especially Nick Sirianni, who's supposed to be great at this, they're not, wait for it, quote, focused. The offensive line isn't focused. And what really jumped out to me with this Giants game is, I think it was their first run play. They line up. They have Jalen Hurts in the shotgun, Saquon Barkley next to him, you know, almost like every play.
Yeah.
And the offensive line does a great job, takes the defensive line over to the right. Saquon cuts back to the left. You got the nice run, longest run of the year, everything. Even Devontae Smith on the outside, I think it was, holds his block. Thing of beauty.
17 yards. Yep.
17, breaking it off like that. It was beautiful. Then they run that same play. I think it was late in the second quarter. Doors blown off. Whatever they did to either check into that play or recognize that play was called or coming for the Giants there, they blew up the Eagles' offensive line on that and stopped Saquon for a loss. If you're not focusing on plays that are supposed to be your bread and butter, then as I said in the open, it's not just, as you were saying, Harry, also a 53-man problem here. I think if you, especially in the offensive side of things, if you have an offensive line problem, they're not executing, they're not focusing, and you're not making sure they draw focus and know their assignment, then you have an everything problem on the offense. Because then you're talking about the obvious here, speeding up the clock with Jalen Hurts, your receivers aren't on time to their spots, everything gets messed up. That, to me, is still the Eagles' biggest problem is what's going on in that offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at Brian Baldinger did a great breakdown of it the other day on Instagram, you know, based on the Lane Johnson saying, hey, we're kind of predictable, which was another great comment. These offensive linemen are turning into like your kids at the dinner table when there's company around, and all of a sudden little Johnny starts talking about the family secrets. You know, the mom's like, will you shut up? You know, I mean, good Lord. But he shows, you know, some plays as he always does. He's brilliant with it. 2x2 sets every time. There's a motion with Goddard. 2 stop routes, 2 vertical routes, like play after play after play. And it's like, yeah, no kidding. No way. And this isn't the first time over the last couple of seasons where we've either heard our own players say we're predictable or players on the opposition calling out the plays at the line of scrimmage.
Who was that? San Fran that did that?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
not good.
Yeah, and guess what? This week, Isaiah Rodgers is on the other side of the football field.
And he's having a heck of a year.
Yes,
thus
he
far.
is.
We had Kevin. I did the radio show with John Marc yesterday on The Fanatic. We had Kevin Foley on, brother of Glenn Foley, former great quarterback, Maryland Terrapin. And
Cherry Hill East, right? He was a legend at Cherry Hill East.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly right, Harry. And he said the lack of motion in their offense is stunning. You know, motion creates decisions, you know, where, you know, you see it when they put guys in motion, the guys are pointing, you take this guy. So now all of a sudden things change and coverages change and the quarterback needs to read that. They're not using any motion. They're not having guys, you know, moving at speed, at snap. They try and run the ball out of the shotgun, which is much more difficult. And people and teams are obviously keying on that, and their lack of success there is not stretching a defense. I mean, there's so many issues right now. There's a lot to be concerned about when it comes to Kevin Petula and, getting the ball to A.J. Brown, not until late in the third quarter. But overall, there's just a lot of issues here. There's a lot of issues. And maybe they were covered up by that 4-0 start over some good teams. But again, to Harry's point that he initially made, this is where the head coach just comes out and takes everything off the players, puts it all on himself, and takes care of business behind scenes and puts people in a room, not in a friggin' parking lot, and puts them in a room and resolves things.
And maybe that's going on. I don't know. Maybe
we don't have any reports of it.
Week. Supposedly that happened this week.
Okay.
The official meeting.
Okay.
They leaked that to Ian Rappaport and their lackey reporters like Shefty.
Yeah.
Those guys that they give all the easy stuff to, so we can give you the first info on a trade or draft pick, all that crap. Yeah, I'm disgusted with them right now because I don't like the way they've handled this.
Here's where I'm at. Kevin Petullo is actually going down my list of things to worry about with this season. I do believe
pecking order changing.
I'm sorry.
The pecking order is changing.
Oh yeah, in terms of blame. Because this Giants game for Jalen Hurts was not good.
No.
It was not good at all. And first off, let's just go over the blanket statement here that you can make, which is you haven't seen 4 quarters of football from anybody, defense or offense, but you sure as hell haven't seen 4 quarters of football from Jalen Hurts. You've seen a phenomenal 2 quarters.
Yep.
Some games. But in terms of sustaining that success, and maybe that's where the predictability is coming, I think a lot of it also comes down to, even as Nick Sirianni talked about in his press conference yesterday, Jalen, has the autonomy to change lines or change plays at the line of scrimmage that we all know, but we're talking about 4 to 5 plays that he could change per game at the line of scrimmage on average. That's the number Sirianni. Those are the numbers Sirianni threw out. And I wonder if defenses, and they're not dumb. They're certainly not dumb. Todd Bowles isn't dumb. Steve Spagnuolo isn't dumb. Brian Flores is no idiot who they're facing this week. Okay, Jalen, we're going to feel you out, what you change to, what you check to in the first half, and then guess what we're going to do in the second half? When you do that, we'll do this. Jalen hasn't made that adjustment. Whatever they're cracking the code on defensively, I think that's part of the predictability. It's not just, Kevin Petullo called this again. I think it's also what Jalen Hurts is checking into that is becoming predictable. But then when you talk about also overall decision-making, there's plays in these games, and there's one in particular here against the Giants that I found very interesting. Now, it was in the first quarter, a 30-yard pass to Dallas Goedert. Nobody's going to bat an eye at a 30-yard completion. That's a good play.
To a tight end.
Right. But what was so confusing to me about it, when you go back and you watch the film, both from the sideline and when you also watch the overhead cam, the high end zone, Jalen has Devontae Smith one-on-one coverage beating his man right over Dallas Goedert.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, that's a good bite, obviously 30 yards, but you had the whole entree right there for a touchdown with Devontae Smith. Now, the play I think everybody has gone over 1,000 times was the absolute atrocious decision. Now, later in the game, he also missed Devontae Smith on the deep ball.
That would have been a touchdown.
That would have been a 90-yard touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just an atrocious throw. Right decision, right read, but just an atrocious throw. Jalen has that one read on Jahan Dotson that was so terrible because not only did he make the wrong decision, the execution was terrible where he stared Dotson down.
The interception.
And then on the interception.
Yeah.
And that's where you had A.J. Brown open over the top that also would have been in the corner of the end zone. So there's plays there and other plays throughout the game that we could go over, but there's just missed plays and meat left on the bone by Jalen where, and I've said this before, and this makes me think of Carson Wentz. I know, Harry, that's a big thing for you this week. If you have so many problems on the offense, including the offensive line, as a quarterback, as a franchise quarterback who has already shown the high standard he could play at, you can't afford to have a regression. I know you're not going to be perfect. No one's going to be perfect, but you can't be part. You can't be part of the regression. And that's what we're seeing, not only just from the offensive line, but that's also, unfortunately, what we're seeing from Jalen Hurts as well.
He finds A.J. Brown there instead of trying to force it into Dotson. It's 27-24.
Yeah.
You know, you're right in the game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and then you look at the overthrow to Devontae Smith and that missed opportunity. And every one of those plays you just cited, Mark, are ones that Kevin Foley cited yesterday
Really?
on the program. Yeah, and you're dead right. It's exactly what he brought up, is the read and just being predictable. And defenses love predictability in sports. They love that. They love knowing what you're going to do. I mean, that's that's heaven.
Let me ask something about the interview. When he talked about motion, because I feel like the Eagles run a good amount of motion. Now, it could be token motion. I don't know if he has a way as a former quarterback. This is where I try not
He
to
wants to shift the sides of motion. Have a receiver move to the other side of the field, that kind of motion to really shift a defense and how they're going to attack you, because that trickles right into their defensive line and how they slant off the ball or what they want to do. Like I love, obviously we love the swing pass, the wheel route to Saquon in that game. There's been a lack of creativity in their play design, which is odd because there's been pretty decent creativity in short yardage goal line. The usage of Goddard and the shuttle passes and those kind of things. But overall, they just become very predictable. And I think the word that I come up with when I'm thinking about Hurts this year is he obviously doesn't want to turn the ball over. We know how meaningful that is in football, but he's become very safe and predictable. And with a receiver like A.J. Brown, that's not how you have to play with him. He's not about just burning past guys. He's about battling for 50-50 balls. And you put the ball a little bit in peril, and you trust a guy, a 1,500-yard receiver like A.J. Brown, to do what he does. And that's where I think the rub might be. It's just like a lack of trust, because he wants to not put the ball in peril at all. And you got to put with reward comes risk. And he just doesn't seem like he's in the mood to take a whole lot of risk right now. And that's safe, and that's boring, and that's predictable, and that's not winning football.
Well, I'll jump on that for 1 second, because last year, I think he cracked the code. Like, all I got to do is not turn the football over, and we're so damn good that'll be the difference between winning and losing. That's the mentality I think he played last year with
a running back that ran for 2,000 yards.
Right.
Exactly.
And an offensive line that was healthy. That
was dominant. Exactly. And a defense that was incredible. So for me, I think Jalen needs to realize, okay, dude, this ain't last year. This is this year. I'm going to have to win some games here. That's what made me so optimistic after the Rams game. Okay, active, go gadget offense, passing game. You can do it. And they did it.
That's when he went rogue. That's when we thought he went rogue in the second half, right?
Yeah. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But then you also see it in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game, the first quarter of that. Oh, my God, like one incompletion, and then all incompletions, 0 for 8 in the second half. What the hell?
Yeah.
So, for me, I think Jalen got real comfortable last year, and you guys know what a big fan I am of Jalen Hurts. All the negative Nancy's, if you want to call it that, I'll always call it people being real. I won't assume they're just going for the hot take, but they said there was no place in the NFL where it was easier to play quarterback last year than the Philadelphia Eagles. That is absolutely right. No one can dispute that.
Nope.
This year, it's a lot more difficult. Jalen has to make that adjustment, but I'll say this. When it comes to the offensive line, I don't know how they get better. I think guys are banged up. They're going to be banged up for the season. Maybe Landon Dickerson having a week off will be better. I don't know. Maybe Lane Johnson will get better as the season goes on, won't be as banged up. Jordan Mailata will pull focus. Cam Jurgens will get healthy. I don't know. But I don't have that much confidence in them being a lot better than where they're at right now, because that means guys have to get healthy in season, which rarely ever happens.
Yeah,
but I do have confidence that Jalen will make the adjustment, because basically he's done it every single year he's been in the NFL.
He's 50-22 as a starter in the NFL for a reason. Yeah, and he hasn't had what he had last year his entire career. Last year was a historical season.
He went 305 passes without an interception until that throw. It's
amazing.
Trying to get it to Dotson.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at last year, and that raised the bar this year. I mean, we had these conversations, and a lot of people had these conversations. Is this Eagles team better than last year? Because Quinyon Mitchell's going to be even better, and Cooper DeJean and his usage, and this and that, and they lost some guys because Super Bowl winning teams lose some guys, and you have a new offensive coordinator, but they're being held to the standard of what took place last year is impossible to duplicate. I mean, that was historical how good they were.
Here's the other thing I want to ask you guys about, because I sense this, and maybe I'm off base, but in situations like we've seen where the game's sort of getting away from you and you're a quarterback with mobility, he seems reluctant to take it upon himself and make a play with his legs like he used to do. And, I don't know, am I imagining that, or is this something that is being taken out of the offense for him, or is this just a decision on him? Like, remember McNabb did this at one point in his career where he's just like, I'm not running. I'm going to be a Mr. Pocket guy.
He talked
and
about
it was forced. And there were a lot of times where if you've got that ability, you got to take it upon yourself and just go make a play.
Yeah.
And I'm not seeing that right now.
Well, I'll give you the numbers on that, Harry, because you're exactly right. It's not just something you're feeling. It's something that is absolutely happening. 50. This is from Inquirer.com. 50 carries through 6 games this season, courtesy of Pro Football Focus by way of Inquirer.com. Hurts has 19 scrambles, 15 sneaks, 7 kneel downs, which are included.
Yeah. A lot of sneaks.
1 fumble. Yeah, 5 sneaks. Or 15 sneaks. And that leaves them with just 8 designed runs for 41 yards and 51 carries. So you're talking about 51 yards per or 5.1 yards per carry. 50 carries in total. 19 are scrambles.
Okay. Now, all
that,
right.
That doesn't sound like a lot for a guy like Jalen Hurts who could break a play.
It doesn't, but the 5 yards per crack on the designed run seems low too. Mm-hmm. Like it's not, it's not as effective.
He's
in the
sliding
times
a lot
that they've
earlier.
done it. Yeah,
and I think he's right to slide a lot earlier.
Wouldn't that be incumbent upon Kevin Petula to maybe design some plays to do that?
Well, so here's the excuse, and I hate this, and this goes to Doug Peterson, this goes to Chip Kelly. Oh, we called an RPO. It was like, yeah, exactly. Not a run. Can we get rid of the P and the O in that and just you call a run?
Yeah.
Like,
a designed play.
Take away
to get
the
him
option,
out.
will you?
Yeah. They would just, just say, hey, here's a running play.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's just bonkers. I mean, I got to look no further than the Temple game to see how much a quarterback draw could do. Heartbreaking. Sorry I brought it up, Harry, but it's sticking in my brain all week. Jalen Hurts can kill defenses with that. Why they're not doing it? Maybe they feel like they're not going to get the push. Maybe they feel like on the offensive line they can't open up holes for Saquon Barkley, so they're not going to try that with their quarterback.
Yeah,
that I don't know. I don't know.
That play was really well blocked by Navy, but it should have never even come to that. They should have taken 3 knees and exhausted all Navy's timeouts, kicked the field goal, and away we go. But that being said, we're doing an Eagles show.
This portion of the show brought to you by
I had to get that in.
Yeah, I put one brick down. You went right on time. It was beautiful. When we come back, I am going to talk about, let's get a little bit more in the predictability thing, also the 2023 versus now comparison. And then I can't help it, gentlemen. Maybe you can help me with this, but it's a veteran Eagles reporter who's not really out there in the professional, in the, what do you call it, linear media like he once was, but it's out there and it's on repeat in my brain. We'll talk about that when we return. This is Locked On Eagles Squad Show on the Locked On Eagles YouTube channel.
All right, let me tell you about Mint Mobile. You've seen the commercials. They're fantastic. Ryan Reynolds does a great job. Are you overpaying for your wireless? Well, it's time to say yes to saying no. It's one of the things I've learned as I've gotten older. It's okay to say no. No, I'm not doing it. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. I said yes to making the switch. I was just paying way too much money. It was getting ridiculous. And getting premium wireless for just $15 a month. I almost feel like I'm going to get arrested for stealing. Mint makes it simple. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text. It's delivered on the nation's largest 5G network, and you can even bring your own phone and keep your number and contacts. Maybe you're one of those people that want to get a new number because you want to get rid of some of those contacts, and maybe you don't want to be contacted. You can maybe do that too. You got to check it out. Mint Mobile is fantastic. And again, the word no premium, no overages, no hidden fees. They're right up front with you, which is really what it should be like. You got to get the same quality service that you're going to get before. You're going to pay less, and you're going to get just great service and spend a lot less money. You may spend it on getting a New Jersey or something like that. So if you're ready to say yes or to saying no, make the switch to Mint Mobile. Go to mintmobile.com/lockedonnfl. That's mintmobile.com/lockedup Locked On NFL. Upfront payment of $45 is required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for the first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on an unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for complete details.
I have no
Welcome back, Locked
problem
On.
saying no, Jason.
No, you don't.
No, that's an easy word for me.
I wanted to go into Tom Bigby there and say, for complete details.
Details.
He came to me one time when I used to do voiceover for WIP, and he said, "It's not details, it's details." I said,
I love
"No,
that.
it's not. Maybe in Texas where you're from, it's details, but here in Philadelphia, it's details." Details.
Oh,
That's a great
so sorry, I
story.
never crossed paths with that guy.
Oh, you didn't?
Never.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he maybe a year. I think I missed him by a year. Maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because Tom Lee, now of Locked On Sports, by the way,
Right.
Yeah,
was my first boss in radio.
Gotcha.
That's the way that went.
he was with us at WIP.
Yeah.
Until all of a sudden one day he wasn't.
Right. I'm never
was a
forget him
weird
getting on
day.
the elevator. I'd be like, "Where you going, Tom?" Anyway,
Yeah.
Here's my issue. Before we get into predictability in 2023 versus now, every Eagles fan knows his name, Howard Eskin. He's on a show.
It's
And
just
I was his producer for about a year and a half.
I forgot
in the-
about that.
back in the day. And he put out something. Now, he's no longer the Eagles sideline reporter. I think everybody knows. But he said that the Eagles should start Tanner McKee.
Oh.
Now, I've heard this.
You are a nitwit, dope, and a moron.
Oh, man.
Right. I've heard this from commenters, but I don't put any stock into that. I think that is an asinine thought. I wouldn't do that ever. I think Tanner McKee is going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. Now's not his time, and it's certainly not here in Philadelphia.
here.
When he just, especially when you have a Super Bowl winning quarterback who's been to 2 Super Bowls, been the second most valuable player in the NFL to behind Patrick Mahomes one year.
Just
Played
turned 27.
phenomenal. Blah blah blah. Exactly. Like, enough of the resume. I'll stop there. Everyone understands.
Yeah.
However, I think we all know Howard. At least know that he's a reporter. He's not an analyst. He's not just like looking at film and being like, "Wow, they should really start." He's not coming up with an opinion. This is something that I think somebody from the Eagles organization has planted in his head. I mean, I know he's not there on the sideline, but he's still got people's numbers. Everyone texts and all that stuff. My thought is that he's asking people within the Eagles, possibly. My thought, okay, I'm not reporting this. This is just knowing the people involved. My thought is this isn't just something he thought up out of nowhere. This is something that if Jalen Hurts doesn't get his act together, we're thinking about Tanner McKee. I wouldn't be shocked at all if that was something at least somebody wanted out there to maybe rattle the cage a little bit, to get Jalen more focused or let him know what's at stake here. But I think Jalen also knows, similar to Carson Wentz, I'm sorry, you're paying me a boatload of money. You're really going to do that again after you just did it to Wentz? You're going to do it to me? I doubt that. Plus, I've been to 2 Super Bowls. I've won a Super Bowl. It wouldn't shock me. I don't know what your guys' take on it is, but it wouldn't shock me if that seed was really planted from somebody within the NovaCare complex.
Media
more so than it
messaging.
was Howard. More so than it was just Howard being like, really watching the film on this, I think Tanner McKee should be the starting quarterback. That I doubt.
Yeah.
What's more likely?
Those guys that break news and sometimes they'll say, I think this. They don't call it a report because they don't have it on the record or enough sources. But they say, what if this, or they put out some sort of scenario, and it's not because they just thought of it. It's because they heard it. That's the case. Now, I don't know if Howard heard it or not, and he's broken a lot of stories over his career.
He's had a couple wrong, too.
He's missed on a few. You're going to do that. That's going to happen. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Howard heard that at the Flyers preseason game that night. I saw him last week, and maybe he ran into to Talk, and maybe Talk said he should go to Tanner Pearson. I don't know. So I was like, "What are you doing?"
I just kind of find it odd though, because like, okay, yeah, maybe somebody in the Eagles organization said this, but why to him? He doesn't have the platform anymore to really make this
Still
a
on
big
Twitter,
deal.
So sometimes
Go on social media.
they go to weird places, Harry. There's a reason why a guy came to me when I broke the Wentz story. People are going, how the hell would you have it? You're a hockey guy. Like,
about his back?
Yeah. You don't go to the obvious places because it exposes them a little bit more. So you go to a less obvious place. Because a lot of times, like with somebody with a coward, they'll know who's feeding him information, where that's coming from, because they can pinpoint it based on the reports that he's gotten right, that has to be coming from one of these three guys, right? So you go to an unlikely source, which is why that guy came to me when I broke that story. Right. So, by the way, I had the Marigold story then too, and I held it back, but I did use it as leverage when Howie was threatening that I was slandering, which obviously I wasn't, because I was never sued, fired, or had to retract my report on Wentz's back. But yeah, I'm not in the mood for a quarterback controversy.
No,
there isn't a quarterback controversy.
There shouldn't be one.
Yeah,
correct. We all agree. We all agree on that.
Even if Howard heard that, he needs to flesh that out and go, "This is BS," or at least couch the report or however he presented it as such.
I mean, is that the kind of thing that would motivate a guy like Jalen Hurts? I don't know that Jalen Hurts. I know. We hear these athletes that say they don't listen to the media. I don't think he gives a damn what is said in the media.
Well, I mean, the Tua thing bothered him in college.
You do?
I will say I do, because I mean, this is a guy that after the Panthers game, he came out with the Steelers game last year and was just like, "Is that what y'all wanted to see?" Or he gets asked a question about accuracy on his deep ball, and he's like, "Hold on, can you say that again?" And the reporter was like, "Your deep ball was really accurate." He's like, "Yeah, I never hear that. I don't hear that enough." Like people,
these athletes, they all say it, Harry. Oh, we don't listen to that. We don't read the papers. BS. A lot of guys admitted after they play that they listen.
Well, then why not get the ball to A.J. Brown in the first quarter a couple of times?
Well, maybe
if
that's
you're
not
so
his
dialed
decision.
into what the people are saying,
Maybe
for God's sakes.
Yeah, maybe that's not his decision. Maybe that's been Petula's decision, where he's just not running the play to get A.J. Brown into a space where he knows.
I got A.J. wide open here for a touch, and now I'm going to try to force it into number 2. Okay, that's a good
idea.
Into
Dotson.
Yeah.
Well, whether he hears it and whether it influences him, I think are two different things. Whether he hears it or lets it influence, I think it's two different things. But it's funny you mentioned that about A.J. Brown, because one of the things I also want to say, because I referenced the tape in the opening segment of the show, there's one throw he made in this game that I'm like, okay, Jalen, that's it. That's the throw right there. And it was the 33-yard pass. I think it was down the sideline to A.J. Brown, where he had Devontae Smith on the in route. He stared down the middle of the field. Jalen Hurts stared down the middle of the field, then bang, whipped his head around to the right side of the field and threw a perfect ball in the breadbasket to A.J. Brown. And that center stare down the middle of the field held the safety off just enough to where A.J. wasn't in double coverage and Jalen Hurts could thread the needle there. That's a throw I want to see a million times. That was in the first quarter. It was to A.J. Brown. I don't think that media or outside influences influenced his decision to make that throw, but I do think that was the throw that was there. And I also think he absolutely hears the criticism. I don't think he lets it really shake him. He might allow it to motivate him, Harry. I will say that.
Okay.
I think doubters do motivate certain guys, and I think he is one of those guys that can be susceptible to that, especially a quarterback. You know, I mean, we got to remember, all these athletes are human too. There's a curiosity about yourself, and and there's just a physiological reaction in your brain to please. That's how we are as humans, and you want to be accepted, liked, admired. You know, and he's just like anybody else in that regard, always trying to prove himself, because this is a guy that was taken, 56th or 53rd overall. You don't think that still sticks in his craw?
Well, and that was a shock too, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
that he was taking that low.
Yeah. No, that high to be. I couldn't.
I thought he was third, fourth round.
I didn't even see that. Yeah, I didn't see
because of the throwing problem.
Yeah,
and he's only 6'1".
Right.
You know, I mean, he doesn't have your standard 6'3", 6'4", can sling it all over the Josh Allen type thing. You know, not that guy, but he's got an intangible. and he's 50 and 22 as a starter.
Maybe the Eagles do have it. Maybe they have it right. Maybe all these other teams trying to win with like Aaron Rodgers or, last year Russell Wilson, all these one-time wonders. Maybe the Eagles have it right. No, guys. You change franchise quarterbacks every couple of years. That's how you win Super Bowls. Come on.
Well, would you guys rather have one of those other guys that is incredible, like premium thrower, great, like the perfect quarterback, right? Would you rather have that guy and not win a Super Bowl, or would you rather have a guy that can be a little bit controversial at times, and that's what Hurts has become, but is 50 and 22, has played in 2 Super Bowls, was an MVP of the last one, and beat an absolute wagon to do it?
Yeah.
Who would you rather have?
Yeah, I mean, the fans want Super Bowls or a Super Bowl every once in a while.
Yeah, but they want to bitch along the way.
Right.
Yeah,
you know
look
what I
at
mean,
us
Harry?
right now.
Yeah.
Look at the city right now.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm still not. I'm not.
Should get rid of him.
I'm not changing Jalen Hurts for.
You want to get rid of
right
a
now?
quarterback
Nobody on
that's
this
50 and
roster.
22?
Right. Exactly.
Crazy.
Yeah. I still feel the same way about Jalen. There's one guy in the NFL I take over him, and that's Patrick Mahomes, because the intangible
he's also
winning, winning is something that everyone wants to just give a participation trophy for. Oh, if Joe Burrow had this, what would he do? I don't know. He might crap his pants in the Super Bowl. I don't know. He did lose the only Super Bowl he's played in, and other than that, he's barely been available. So, just as an example. And Josh Allen, all the great skills that he has, and he's phenomenally talented and all that. I've only seen him choke on the biggest of stages that he's ever played
Bingo!
on. So I don't just, because he's really talented, that's the guy I want. No, I want the guy that knows how to win.
Yeah.
And that's why, again, to go back to it, I don't have a lot of confidence in the offensive line, but I do have confidence in Jalen Hurts. The patch he's going through right now is not how the rest of the season is going to go. I have confidence in saying that.
Peyton Manning's a great example. He was a great quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great quarterback.
Sure.
I loved watching Peyton.
I heard of him.
His record was 50. He had a 500 record.
The nationwide guy, right?
Yeah.
He came up small in many a playoff game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's also playing in that era, obviously with the Patriots. It was so dominant, but still, 500. He was a 500 quarterback.
We do a lot of great discussion on this show, and
When?
today's has been great, but I haven't heard the name Saquon Barkley being brought up really yet. The focus has never been on him based off the year that he had last year. How about him step up and make a couple of plays, maybe break a couple of tackles on his own? I know the offensive line isn't what it was, and especially now with injuries, but he ain't making any plays either.
Well,
I know we want to point to the quarterback and the offensive coordinator. Where's 26, Mr. Commercial Man, who I can't turn on television without seeing? He's now becoming like the Pat Mahomes of 2025. So, when is he going to step up and really, do something? You've done nothing.
There's a little anti-Penn State in this
No.
argument.
I applaud Penn State for finally having the balls to step up and get rid of that coach. Now, hopefully they can move forward and pick the right guy. But this is not I love Saquon Barkley, and I loved him when he was at Penn State. I fall in love with players at Penn State. I don't love the team. This Warren kid, I loved him. I loved McSorley. I loved a lot of those guys. Trust me.
Well, I mean, look, the holes that Saquon ran through last year on his way to 2,000 yards.
You could have ran through.
You could have run an aircraft carrier through them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just second. He was in the second level almost all the time, and when he gets to the second level, forget it, right?
Right.
And that's why the home runs were there like they were last year, and they could. The difference too with that was they could steal a team's soul with the way they ran the ball and dominated
It's
them.
emasculating getting run on in the NFL.
Oh, it is.
It really is.
Yeah. And they all say it.
Yeah.
You know it's coming, and you can't stop it. That is as emasculating as it gets.
Yeah.
Did I give you the numbers last? I can't remember if I gave you guys this or if I got this week. Jordan Mailata is the only ranked offensive lineman the Eagles have that is ranked in the top 20 of win rate.
What is that, a PFF thing?
No, this was actually off ESPN. Wins 92% of his battles. He's 17th. The Eagles don't have any. This offensive line doesn't have anybody. A Jeff Stoutland offensive line doesn't have anybody above 17, above 20 in the NFL.
Stoutland University is no longer Ivy League right now.
No, I mean,
they've gone down to state school status. They're Bloomsburg.
Their endowment is suffering.
Yeah. We're not going to go Kutztown, Harry, but
No, you
maybe
can't.
Bloomsburg.
Don't go Kutztown.
Got to go JUCO first before you go to Statler University.
Hutchinson Community College.
Well, the problem is that Kevin Petula is community college. He's DCC.
Yeah.
Delaware County.
They're like, where did Rudy go? Did Rudy go to Holy Cross or something like that before he went to Notre Dame?
He went to Holy Cross to Notre Dame,
Was it Holy Cross?
Yeah.
Okay.
He befriended John Favreau, and that's where everything worked out.
Gordy Lockbaum went to Holy Cross. Remember him?
Wow.
Finished third in the Heisman, I think. Yeah, the year Paul Palmer finished like second.
Yeah,
good Lord.
Vinny
all right,
Testaverde.
before we move on, are you guys? Well, actually, no, we'll get time on the other end because I want to give this full time here. 23 versus now. 2023 versus now. Gentlemen, start your engines. Talk about that. Too early. Okay. Too early. Talk about that when we return. This is Locked On Eagles Squad show back after this. Oh, boy, I'm going to tell you guys about BILT. Nobody likes paying rent, right? It should all be for free. No. But you know what? If you must pay rent, you might as well get something else for it besides the apartment, besides the house, whatever it might be. That's where BILT, B-I-L-T, comes in. BILT is changing the game by turning your rent payment into real rewards you can actually use. When you pay rent through BILT, you earn flexible points that can be redeemed toward hundreds of hotels and airlines, a future rent payment, your next Lyft ride, maybe, and more. BILT isn't just about rent. It's about rewarding you around your entire neighborhood. I love that with BILT, your rent finally works for you. How about that? You're earning points every month on something you already have to pay for, whether you're grabbing food at your favorite local restaurant or heading to the gym. You're still earning rewards. BILT has made everyday life more rewarding, from your neighborhood to travel plans as well. Turn rent into rewards and start earning points around your neighborhood by going to joinbilt.com/lockedonnfl. That's joinbilt.com/lockedonnfl. And make sure to use that link so they know that Locked On sent you. All right, boys. Jeremy Fowler put the story out there saying that one anonymous Eagle told him this is starting to feel like the 2023 Eagles collapse, where they went 1-6 in their last 7 games, went from the number 1 seed to a wild card team that year.
Yep.
Not great, not ideal. Big Dom gets into the skirmish with Trey Greenlaw of the 49ers, and all goes to hell. Matt Patricia takes over as the defensive play caller from Sean Desai. Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. It ended terribly.
Heads are falling off.
Yeah.
It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. And I got to say, I have this takeaway now for the rest of my life thanks to that season, and that is, if you're saying every week we found a way to win, you ain't that good. Just like the Kansas City Chiefs last year, you keep finding ways to win. Your day of reckoning is coming. Sure, that might be in the Super Bowl, but your day of reckoning is coming, and I sure as hell hope in 5 days the Eagles didn't have 2 days of reckoning when it came to their performance against the Broncos or the Giants. Harry, is this 2025 season too reminiscent for you of the 2023 year?
It's too early to tell. Although that is the last time that they had a 3-game losing streak. In fact, they had 2 3-game losing streaks during that stretch, ending with the loss to Tampa Bay in the playoffs. But it's too early to tell. Now, this week will tell me a lot. But it's amazing that the fan base will look to the media and blame the media for that anonymous quote. Okay, and like it's their fault. They just made it up. Jeremy Fowler just made it up. This is actually going. There is a definite issue in the NovaCare complex. I don't know what it is, and I don't know how it gets fixed. But this is the kind of stuff. This is amazing to me. Just 2 months, not even 2 months into a season off a Super Bowl win, that you just start to see all of these little fractures developing. And I have to point to the leadership of it with the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Like
when it's
this is
easy,
happening under his watch after he won a Super Bowl.
Again, by the way.
It's human nature.
Yes, happening again. Correct.
It's human nature to when things come so easy like they did last year because they were so good and it was such a historical year that you start to take little things for granted, relationships or the way you handle things or anything. They came in this year, we're not recognizing the banner, we're not defending all this rhetoric, right?
And it was very overt, over the top. Like
it was too much.
It was weird. Like
it was an overcompensation.
Yes.
To me, and
it's looking like that now. Like he recognized there was an issue or could be a real issue, and maybe where that issue still remains.
Yeah, there was some stuff boiling under the lid that we didn't know about, and we don't know everything, and we're not in that locker room, and we're not in that dynamic in those meeting rooms, and nobody is but those players and coaches and those people on the inside. But there clearly is an issue, and it needs to be resolved. But is the resolution to move on from somebody, from a 1,500-yard receiver in A.J. Brown that's 29 years old, and you'd have to take a step back. I mean,
well, that isn't happening during the season.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to. You can't get enough teams involved in that trade to be able to do it that could fit him and have it work out. So that makes no sense. That's not happening.
The dead money's extreme.
Yeah, it's not happening. It's a non-starter.
No. So
they have to find a way to work with it this season and find a way to, put ego aside. There's ego involved here too. Breaking news: professional athletes can get an ego, especially after winning a Super Bowl. That can happen to even the most grounded of people. Like Jalen Hurts seems like a very grounded guy. I'm sure there's a ton of ego there, and there has to be that great. But there's a lot percolating here, and there's a lot to be concerned about. As far as comparing it to that year, that year. It was such a strange year. They were 10-1, and
it's hard to fake your way to 10-1.
And like
in the NFL,
it wasn't as aesthetically pleasing, but the fact is they put up 34 against Minnesota that year, 25 against
that loss
Tampa.
was to the Jets too, if I remember, and they had a bunch of turnovers in that game.
Yes,
they lost 20-14. But they came back and they beat the brakes off of Miami 31-17.
They beat good
Washington.
Teams.
Kansas
City, Buffalo.
The Philadelphia Eagle fan at this point has changed so much that it's not just about winning; it's about winning and looking perfect, And it doesn't. That's not sport. That's not the way it works all the time. And you don't have years like last year ever. I've never seen anything like that from a Philadelphia sports team. None of us have. And now, I remember coming to this year having squad show conversation. Is this team better than last year's team?
Right.
Like, remember, and we're kind of like, well, with the growth in certain areas, they might be, but it's really hard. It's hard to do, and nobody's going to take them for granted. I don't think people did last year at a certain point either, but they melted down that year. Are they going to continue the meltdown this year? Now, that's the question.
Yeah. And
this week it is a big one to answer after losing to a crappy Giants team, and this is a tough matchup this week on the road.
Yeah, all we need now is Josina Anderson to get Zadarius Smith to start squawking about what really went on. And now
that's a little weird too.
Now that he's left, he comes here late to try to get a free ride to a Super Bowl. Makes a couple of plays. He's involved in 25% of the snaps the other night against the Giants. He had a sack and a half in limited action, and all of a sudden he's like, nah, I don't need any of this.
I'm not going to get the ring. I see too much dysfunction.
Well, I don't know. Jesus.
I'm just thinking out loud.
It's bizarre. It is weird.
Yeah.
By the way, Harry, that's perfect transition because we've talked about lack of depth on the offensive line.
Yeah.
The edge rusher position. I do think the only somewhat cure you have to this is Jahad Campbell moves to the edge and Nakobe Dean takes back over next to Zach.
Name their 4 edge rushers.
Jalix Hunt has done nothing. We were
the ones that are healthy?
him to take a jump this year. Remember, we were all talking about, he's going to make that step.
Opportunities here for him.
I was amped up about Nolan Smith, but I wasn't there with Jalix Hunt. I thought he had a strong finish.
Some people were.
No, you're right. And and the most important was Howie Roseman.
Yeah,
because you got Azeez Ojulari, who only just recently became active on game days now, and that took a lot of struggling and Nolan Smith to go down. Now Zadarius Smith's out, so he's got to get those reps. Josh Uche, obviously. But you now have to, I think you're forced. Your hand is forced. I love what Dean had to say yesterday, which was when he was asked about whether or not it's going to take a minute to regain that kind of chemistry with Zach Bond. He said, I loved it. He goes, well, wait, I've been here. Like, not only did I play last year next year, but like, I've been here every day, every practice, every game. I've been here. I've been helping coaching up Jahad Campbell. I've been talking to Zach Bond. I've been talking to the other linebackers. Like, I've been here. That's going to be the easiest thing is just stepping on the football field and playing that position again. He did play, I think it was 32% of the special team snaps, maybe, against the Giants, but obviously no defensive snaps there for Dean. But I'd love to see that. I think that's your only logical replacement now is to move Jahad Campbell, who Vic Fangio has acknowledged in practice has already played some edge rusher position, so they might deploy him in that situation again.
Wow. Man, that's what
I'll cross my fingers for it.
Well,
look,
the other
you
thing
see
is
Vic Fangio blitzing a lot more now too, right?
They get no choice.
Yeah,
no choice.
The Quinyon Mitchell situation is huge too. Now he's limited in practice. I don't, you know, I mean, it's a hamstring. I'm not expecting a whole heck of a lot out of him this week if he even plays. But you imagine going up against those two wide receivers. And really, Jefferson and Addison only played 2 games. He was hurt. And Justin Jefferson really hasn't been Justin Jefferson yet. Only in the last couple of weeks is he really starting to get cooking. This could be bad.
It very much could be.
Eagles are 3-point favorite.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Yeah.
By the way, how about
what side do you like in this game, Harry? Are you leaning? By the way, both of the third down's going to suck in this game. Both of these teams have sucked on third down.
Yeah.
I think the Eagles are 27th, and the Minnesota Vikings are 30th on third down.
Not great.
Well, their offense has looked a lot better the last 2 weeks. McCarthy is, I don't know if he's the guy. He looked terrible the first couple weeks until he got hurt.
Wow.
Wentz in the last 2 weeks looked pretty good.
I'll say this: Wentz still very much has that hero ball thing in him, man. Holy pots and pans. Both. Also for the Vikings, how would you like to play Dublin, then England, bye week, home against the Eagles?
Yeah,
I think it's absurd.
It is absurd, but yeah, it is what it is.
Roger Goodell, bro. Roger Goodell. Harry, I know you got a point on. I know you got a point on Carson Wentz. Let's get to that when we come back. This is Locked On Eagles Squad Show on the Locked On Eagles YouTube channel. Like and subscribe back after this.
Oh, I got to tell you about Mazda. I used to have a Mazda. It was one of the best cars I ever owned because they craft cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride, with more IIHS Top Safety Pick awards than anybody else. And from footwork to breathwork, athletes, they sweat all the details. Mazda brings this same intention to how they craft every model. You can feel the Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. You can make everyday drives just feel like anything but, from smooth handling to intuitive controls. With all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through any season. Like our players, Mazda sweats every detail because when you make every move count, the word impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda. Move and be moved. How'd you like that? Detail.
Carson.
That is the golf clap. Let's go to Gary McCord at 7. Unbelievable delivery by Harry.
Nailed it.
Just
Nailed
synced
it.
Yeah.
a double breaker.
Harry Mays.
You guys know much. You guys know much about this running back for the Vikings, this Jordan Mason? I haven't seen him play yet. I'm just looking at what the Scatterbo did to the Eagles last week, and this guy's 230 pounds. He's like 6 foot 230. He's a lot. He's a load,
and he doesn't quit. I think he fumbled in England in the Browns game 2 weeks ago.
Okay,
but yeah, he doesn't quit. He's a hard runner. But also, Scatterbo is coming off a game where he fumbled, and that wasn't an issue against the Eagles.
He looked like John Riggins.
Yeah, there you go. That's a great comparison.
I loved Riggins, man. He was great.
Oh, yeah.
And a little silver lining here, if you will. Jalen Carter, who obviously missed this game against the Giants with his heel injury, said that, hey, he of all the people to feel like he's coming off a bye week, he's the guy that should feel like he's coming off a bye week.
Yeah.
He said the shoulder had been nagging him, but being forced to miss the game because of the heel helped his shoulder. So I'm going to go ahead and do cartwheels over that for the time being, and then hopefully it's proven true.
Just don't tear a rotator cuff on doing those cartwheels.
Yeah,
exactly.
And Landon Dickerson looks like he's probably going to play too.
Yeah, with the ankle injury, hopefully the knee also gets another week off with that as well. So another good bye week for him, hopefully.
Yeah. Great details.
Yep. Harry, when it comes to Carson Wentz, and his abilities, right? What do you think of with Carson Wentz, this matchup, and also his time here in Philly?
Well, I think he's got, two really good wide receivers and a really good tight end at his disposal in Hockenson, Addison, and Jefferson. So I think, that sets up really well. I like the coach. I think he's a good offensive mind. He's a good play calling type guy. Everything sort of sets up well for Carson. Coming off a bye week, he's had some success recently with the 2 wins. He's 2-1 as a starter this year with Minnesota. Numbers aren't incredible, but they're not bad. 69% completions, 5 touchdowns. He threw 2 picks against Pittsburgh, and that's why they lost the game. Or he'd be 3-0. That was on him. But with all he's got set up, a week off the bye week, his shoulder's good now. This is going to be a really tough week for Fangio, especially if Quinyon Mitchell cannot play, because we saw they're trying to get blood from a stone with who they've got at cornerback. I mean, Adoree Jackson is he's a D player anymore. And he's not going to get any better week to week. I know they're talking about coaching him up and all, and that sounds good. He is what he is. Keely Ringo is what he is. And despite him being drafted by the team and them being desirous of his, improvement, I don't think he's very good either. So they're in big problems if Quinyon Mitchell cannot play.
Yeah, huge element of this matchup is Quintana Mobay. I mean, it's so important against this team. And Wentz, I go back and think about Wentz, and I just went back and looked at his number. It's 10th year in the league. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Right.
Time has flown by. And
32.
I mean, that's crazy to me. Yeah. But he's throwing the ball at 69% completion percentage this year so far, which is
it's not bad.
Yeah, right. I mean, look, his best ever was 70.8.
That was when he was with the Rams for 2 games.
For 2 games. I mean, so this is basically, prime Eagles. He threw it in 2018, 69.6% was his highest.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're talking about a guy who's playing well, and he's going to have a lot of motivation, obviously. So he might be a handful to deal with. This is going to be really interesting. There's a lot of subplots to this weekend, and to avoid a 3-game skid.
Yeah.
I mean, really quiet things down for the Eagles. The ultimate, guys know it's not a cliche. It's a cliche for a reason. Winning cures everything.
It's the ultimate deodorant, I think, is
absolutely
deodorant.
They don't say that in hockey because hockey players don't wear deodorant, but
yeah.
Oh, this guy.
I got it right here. Always have it handy, Harry.
He's got props.
Yeah, that's not a prop, Harry. That's a well-used stick of Arid.
A little product placement there.
They don't have it in the store anymore. I got to order it.
Oh yeah,
I've been using this for years. Yeah, this is regular scented, by the way. Didn't go with the fresh scent this time.
Fellas, do you want to do predictions?
Before we do predictions, can I say something?
Yes.
I just want to say, real quick to the people at Locked On and the people that have watched this show. I put out a video earlier today to announce that I had recent scans and an MRI on Monday, and I have no evidence of disease. I am cancer-free.
That's terrific.
Yeah, over the moon, obviously, about it. We had to move our time today because I had a meeting, an appointment this morning with my oncologist, Dr. Altman, and I'm all clear. There's still some decisions I got to make about some things I got to deal with maybe a surgery to just remove a little piece of area, but it's very non-invasive. But the people at Locked On have been great in dealing with, because there was times obviously I had to check out and I couldn't go and things like that. So their support through This now, it's been about a year battle that I've gone through, has been amazing. And everybody, you guys, and being conscientious and making concessions with my schedule, my doctor's appointments and all that. So I just wanted to tell everybody that I truly appreciate it. And the support that I've gotten from everybody has been overwhelming, humbling, and inspirational. So I thank everybody from the bottom of my heart for that. And that includes you two guys as well, who I've known for years. So
God bless you, man. Happy for you, brother. Happy for you.
Yeah.
And just as a testament to more evidence that we don't really plan the show, I was going to tee you up for that at the very end after our prediction, so it was on my mind. But perfect. No, you couldn't. That was beautiful.
Yeah, you guys knew a little bit before the general public did, but but yeah, I put it out there now, and it's a weird feeling. I'm not even sure how to process. There's a little. I actually have like a little bit of guilt. It's weird.
What?
Yeah. I talked to Edzo yesterday, who you guys both know, and I know you love Edzo, Harry, and Edzo, Mark, and
Eddie Olczyk,
for
those who aren't informed in the audience.
When he announced it publicly, he had it. Harry fired off a tweet to Ed and said, "Kick the S out of it, Edzo."
Yeah,
it was a great. But and Edzo told me.
Then we had him on. We had him on shortly after that, right? Yeah.
Yep. And he said he still feels guilt because why did the treatment work for him? Mm-hmm. And it didn't work for, Brian's sister who had the same thing and passed away from it, So there is a little bit of survivor's guilt. And there's so there's a lot of mental things that I need to unpack and work on. There's a lot of scar tissue from that I've already begun that process. But the main thing is that we're cancer free, and I can start that process and see it through to its end and get back to living instead of wondering. And that feels pretty damn good after the treatment that I went through.
So, congrats again, man.
Great news.
Yeah.
And getting an Edzo reference in during the squad show is always good.
It's always good.
No,
when I saw the phone ring and it was Edzo yesterday, I was thrilled. I talked to him for about an hour and talked to Torts, and it's been amazing. So,
well, you followed Torts' instructions and you didn't F it up, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I told him
exactly.
I told him, I said, I know you're going over to coach with Sully over in Milan for the Olympics. And if you don't, you got a good squad. If you don't come back with gold, you better not F it up. And he just started laughing.
That's great. You know what? Keep the high note going. We all pick the Eagles. Anyway.
Agreed.
All right, good. We all on the same page here. We'll just pick the Eagles. Keep the positive vibes going, Harry.
Yeah.
By the way, I heard Harry had the right side on the Flyers Monday night game.
I did.
Oh, baby.
I did.
Yeah. So good
Very
job.
Nice. Yep. For Harry Mays, for Jason Martinez, I'm Marc Farzetta. Make sure you guys are liking and subscribing on Locked On Eagles YouTube channel. Our friend Locked On Louis DiBiase has you covered each and every day for your Locked On Eagles content. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. We'll catch you guys next. You guys will have the post-cast responsibilities, obviously, following Eagles Vikings coming up Sunday at 1:00. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys next week. Bye.